I've learned to respect Plummer's game more, and actually, especially with the Broncos' recent struggles at quarterback, a guy like Jake Plummer is the type of free agent that you're looking for if you go out this year and try to get a Kirk Cousins. So through time, I've learned to respect the things that Jake Plummer did for the Broncos on the field. Did it lead to a Super Bowl championship? No. But it got you to an AFC championship game, and had things gone a little bit differently against the Steelers, it would have been interesting to see that Broncos team, led by Jake Plummer, make Super Bowl 40 instead of the Steelers.
Oh, it's got to be higher than that. But Jake was so important to the Denver Broncos. Jake Plummer has to be a guy that is considered one of the top 5 candidates for all-time free agents for the Denver Broncos, because he was able to get the team to the AFC Championship game at the quarterback position. There's no other position in football that's more important than the quarterback position. So Jake Plummer certainly belongs in the top 10 conversation. I would put him in the top 5.
Take out Peyton Manning and John Elway. Jake Plummer may be the 3rd best quarterback in the history of the franchise, or at least since Mr. Bowlen bought the team. So it makes sense, but my initial reaction, Jake Plummer made the list, John Lynch didn't. There's something unsettling there, but hey, Jake the Snake did his thing here for a while.
Why is Jake Plummer on this list? What did he accomplish significant as a Bronco? He was Jake the Snake. He's a cool guy. You know, I know he lives up in Boulder, so he made Colorado his home, but what did he do? Why is he on the list? I didn't put him there. Must have been some offensive guys or something.
Jake Plummer is the 10th. I thought he'd be higher on the list. I thought he'd be in the top 5 because you're talking about an AFC Championship game. You're talking about a free agent quarterback, which is rare, that impacted the team when the team was going on a roller coaster. I thought he'd be higher, but not surprised that Jake Plummer's on the list. That's good.
Jake Plummer came from a guy that was like 30 and 50 career-wise. When he was at Arizona, they played, I believe, in one playoff game when he was a starter with the Arizona Cardinals. And then he came here and, well over 500 and had a really nice run here as a quarterback. Really took them all the way to an AFC Championship game that they lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers, who eventually became the Super Bowl champion, the world champion. So Jake had a great run here, great run as a quarterback.
Jake Plummer on the top 10 makes sense. They went to an AFC Championship game. Jake infused a sense of energy into the organization. Jake's kept his ties close here. Well deserved. Probably should have been maybe even a little bit higher.
That 05 team, though not entirely dependent on Jake Plummer, needed him in that AFC Championship game. They got way behind, and certainly it would be unfair to put a major portion of blame for that loss on Jake Plummer. But they were the better team that day. They were playing at home. They were favored to win. I think had they won that game, they would have gone to the Super Bowl, played Seattle, and much as Pittsburgh beat Seattle, I think Denver would have beaten Seattle. If that had been the case, if it had played out that way in 2005, Jake Plummer might be in the top 5. Forget about the top 10. But without that, I can't put him in the top 10. I would disagree with that.
Jake Plummer, in the pocket, out of the pocket, could make all the plays. And we knew offensively when we played a Mike Shanahan, Jake Plummer led team that we were going to have to score points. We couldn't give them opportunities. And defensively, they had to keep him in the pocket. You knew the bootlegs were going to be coming. You knew the double moves were going to be coming. So you better be on top of your game when you face Jake Plummer.
People never really liked Jake right away, and some of his style, and he would sort of clash with Mike Shanahan. He flipped Bronco fans the bird at one point. I always liked Jake because he competed, he won games. At the end of the day, you go back and look at the number of games he won. He's what, third or fourth all time for quarterback wins by a starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos. The great thing I like about Jake Plummer is that as the years gone by, I think more and more people appreciate what he did here and realize he was pretty good and that the grief that he got back then wasn't fair. But Jake Plummer was somebody that didn't get his just due while he was here, but the years have been kind to him. And I think people look back on Jake Plummer and realize he was a really good addition.
He was a capable quarterback. They would love to have a guy like Jake Plummer this season. He's not great, but he's good. And he was a leader. He brought personality. He brought an edge. Jake Plummer would be viewed differently had they not lost and been upset by the Steelers at home in the AFC Championship. They go to that Super Bowl. I believe they win that Super Bowl. I think we see Jake Plummer in these parts a lot differently.
But he didn't win that game against the Steelers. So if he woulda, coulda, shoulda, but he didn't, no.
Should Jake Plummer be higher than number 10? No, because while he won a lot of football games, he wasn't part of a championship team.
I think the number 10 on this list is appropriate for Jake Plummer. I think that he put in enough as a Bronco to make the list. Any higher than 10, the history is too good with this list. I probably would disagree with it, but I think 10 is exactly appropriate for a guy like Jake Plummer.
But still, Jake Plummer over me? Come on, I love Jake, but man, come on. I delivered Peyton Manning.